Welcome into Beyond Ringside Sunday night, 28 before the top of the hour. Fast Eddie Layne behind the control panel. Been dealing with migraines and headaches here in the studio over the last 36 hours. For those who heard the Saturday showcase yesterday, you know that I had a computer crash. And you know that normally on show days when I have a computer crash and for the next 24 hours thereafter, I go into panic mode. And I just forgot to flip one little switch. That's all there was to it. Like to welcome in tag team partner for this afternoon. The champ is here, and I mean a real champ. Tasha Simone, how you doing?
I'm doing peachy. I want everybody to know two things. I didn't drop the F-bomb. The babysitter did. That's right. He did it. I am not guilty of it tonight. And a huge happy birthday shout out to Will Owens. We love you. You know, wild thing. You make my heart sing.
And in the time that she spent singing happy birthday, Will Owens won yet another recognized world championship. We don't know what it is. We haven't made it up yet, but by God, he won it. Right, Tosh?
Yes, he did, because
he's the wild thing.
He's the champion. He's the wild thing. And he rocks some pink tights.
Only person I know that actually pulls off paisley better than Prince did.
He made a cute honey boo-boo, too. I think he's still drinking that go-go juice, though.
Yeah, he's drinking something, but I don't think it's go-go juice. Sorry, Will, had to do it. It has been a great week. It has been a solid weekend. I've enjoyed it. I want to say thank you to everybody who came out to say hi Friday night at Buffalo Wild Wings. Great crowd, some cool singers coming out to play. Saturday night, last night, special appearance at Codzilla's up in Argo, just above Trussville, Alabama. Really enjoyed myself last night. Had some great house, great fans, and we spent the second. I got there just in time for the second half of the Alabama LSU game. I'm glad to see I'm not the only person that could actually get rowdy. And guess what, Tasha? You would have been right at home.
Oh Lord, this was Redneck Central last night. Let me tell you, I am now the coolest mom ever to my son's friends. Because I know football and because I will cuss a football game on TV like I'm there. And Lord have mercy, roll tide roll, but y'all damn near gave me a heart attack last night. Several times, thought I was going to the loony bin a few times too.
You know the call that I'm about to ask you about.
The targeting?
What should have been targeting? Were they right to not call it, or should they have called it?
I'm going to piss a lot of Bama fans off right now, but no, they should not have called it, and I'm going to tell you why. Targeting, first of all, we need to start playing football and stop treating them like they're a bunch of little panty-waist pansies. But secondly, targeting is with intent to injure. Did he hit him? Yes. Do I think he had any intention of injuring a defenseless downed player? Absolutely not. Had he been guilty of trying to hurt someone, he would not have gone to McCarron, the team captain, and said, dude, I'm sorry, didn't mean to do it. He wouldn't have made his apologies. He would have gone and hid behind Les Miles. This is the one time. I think the targeting issue is ridiculous anyway. I'm so sick of seeing ejections overturned, yard standing. This is the one time that even though it was targeting, he did not mean to injure the player, and I am glad that the officials stood by and just called it like they did. I'm happy with the call. Those boys were playing balls to the wall last night, and I want to say this, even though I'm still going to upset some Bama fans, mad props to LSU. They just crumbled in the second half, but they took us to war for a while.
The first half of the game, that was a war, back and forth, and I really enjoyed it. And, you know, they talk about wrestling and mixed martial arts being games of human chess. At this point in time last night, the first half of the Alabama LSU game, and actually part of the third quarter, was definitely human chess. I'm going to agree. For one additional reason, the fact that Norwood got up immediately. He wasn't on the ground. He wasn't rendered unconscious or incapable of coherent thought. He wasn't concussed that we know of. He got up, turned immediately, looked, said, I'm up. What you going to do about it?
Exactly.
I mean, he didn't get up swinging. He didn't get up and become upset. He basically said, guess what? That's business as usual. Let's rock and roll.
And everybody shook hands.
Yes,
everybody
they did.
And I mean, man, in this day and age, when that guy that I refuse to say his name in the NFL is trying to turn what we call football into flag football, I was happy to see these boys playing in the trenches football. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Shout out to all of the LSU fans. I really hope Mettenberger's okay. I hated seeing him go down like he did, but I give him mad props for walking off the field on his own, even though he was limping on both knees.
Even though he threw his helmet down?
Yeah, I mean, I really do. I hated to see him get hurt like that, but it was a clean hit. You know,
and actually, it really wasn't.
Walked off a warrior.
It wasn't really a hit. Remember, his own player came down on his ankle.
Yeah. I hated to see it because that was a good game all the way around. I think what it came down to was who had the mental capacity to make it to the end.
Exactly.
And for all of the Florida State fans who were saying, well, this one beat this one, and we beat them, and we beat them, and we beat them, and LSU got beat by this team, and we beat them. Hey, before you start down in LSU's playing with almost their entire starting lineup injured.
Yeah, I know.
So before you start talking about how bad Alabama is and that they don't want any of Florida State, Alabama always rises to the occasion, and I'm not taking anything away from the Noles, but do yourselves a favor and learn from what Tennessee did by disrespecting Alabama. Show a little class and respect.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Normally I expect that from our cross-state rival to start pulling stuff like, and there are some who did. I've been watching social media. I've
already been hearing it. I may have to buy a beer, but I'm very confident that my pocketbook will stay closed.
Oh, yeah. But see, I will say this. My hat's off to both teams for a hell of a fight yesterday, for a hell of a game. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I agree wholeheartedly. I concur. I felt bad when Mettenberger went down, and I was watching him, and I just had to go, are you going to make it up? Did the bell sound? Are you saved by the it's like, do you need assist? And Mettenberger was able, for the most part, he did get a little bit of help in the final couple of steps getting up vertical. But he did make his way over to the sidelines. I understand why he threw his helmet. I understand why he was visibly shaken and upset. It's like over the last few minutes, nothing went right. And the Alabama defense just put a pounding on Mettenberger yesterday. So
yes, they did. 4 sacks? And
that I remember.
3 minutes.
I feel weird today because there's not a KC game on, and we know it's week 10. They're in their bye week, and they get ready for the Broncos next week, who are currently leading the Chargers at this moment. 43 seconds left in the third quarter. It's Denver 28, Denver 28, San Diego 13, and
4.
I've been getting razzed because it's like, dude, you know they're not going to beat the Broncos. It's like, look, first off, I'm a Falcons fan. Second off, I've been riding this train called the Kansas City Chiefs because I called in the preseason that they could conceivably start 9-0.
Here's my question.
Go ahead.
Why is somebody saying they are not going to beat the Broncos? Guess what? The Broncos are not undefeated, people.
The Broncos are not invincible either, but I will say this. KC has a great, and I do mean great, defense. When they are clicking on all cylinders and healthy, they have a great defense. And unfortunately, Kansas City's offense, led by Alex Smith, who I have a lot for because I think that he was, I hate what happened to him in San Fran.
Yep, I agree. And what's sad is he's having a hell of a year. Colin Kaepernick has been exposed.
Oh, yeah.
He has been exposed, as not to take away from him as an athlete, because he is one heck of an athlete. But he has been exposed almost to the degree, well, no, I can't even say that. He's been exposed. I almost used the T word, but no, he has not been exposed to that degree. But he has been exposed to show that he is not ready to play in the position of a seasoned quarterback yet.
18 minutes before the top of the hour in this Sunday night edition, November 10, 2013. Fast Eddie Layne, Tasha, Simone on Beyond Ringside Live. Coming up in just about 18 minutes from right now. Looking forward to being joined by pro wrestling star Mike Cruz. A lot of you in the Southeastern US and up and down the Eastern Seaboard will know a lot of Mike's body of work. And coming up at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, we are slated to be joined by the man behind it all with IWA Deep South, Kevin Brannon. We'll be right here on Beyond Ringside Live. First off, I want to give before I go any further, thank you very much to Gordon Shell for coming on yesterday, mixed martial arts fighter and trainer, animal activist, the star of the new movie documentary, The Dog Fighter, which is available over on Vimeo.com. And we made there were some very poignant points that came out yesterday during the interview. And, you know, I'm a big believer in forgive and forget, but I'm also an even bigger believer in that you have the obligation, responsibility, and privilege to stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. And that is one of the reasons why I'm genuinely in favor of individuality when it comes to being able to own your pet, but you also have to be a responsible pet owner.
Yes.
And I respect and appreciate the fight that Gordon is taking on when it comes to championing the causes, especially for pit bulls. And everybody who knows me knows the fact that I do agree with the phrase, don't shop, adopt. Check out your local pet shelter. We'll say it like this. I've got a 15-year-old husky running around the house just like she's a puppy, and has been one of the coolest pets, and she was a rescue pet. She was a shelter pet. So like I said, I hate that I had to miss that. That's something I would have liked to have been a part of. You guys hear it, and you hear it in the locker room, but a lot of our listeners may not know the whole story. When they hear about me talking about my pit bull, yeah.
What they don't know about Brody is that he is also a rescue dog. He was actually dead dog walking when a friend of mine who does rescues got him. They were actually walking him to the chamber. Even as a puppy, somebody had tried to fight him. He's got scars. And a lot of people don't realize we talk about physical and mental scars for people. Well, hey, they're the same way for animals. His physical scars can heal, but this dog is always going to have mental scars. And he is a part of my family. When the boys were over here last night watching football with me, he was right up in the big middle of them. He's just a big kid. So before you judge the breed, take a look at the owner, because this dog is one of the most amazing dogs in the world. And I give mad props to anybody who will stand up for the breed of pit bulls. If you want to put people in a cage to fight, we call it MMA. If you want to put dogs in a cage to fight, you're one sick individual. Because we have a choice to do it as humans. They don't get a vote.
See, and this is where, even though for all intent and purposes from the legal side of things, and we covered this yesterday on the interview. If you've missed it, the interview is currently in rotation on Beyond Ringside Radio. It will be coming up during the Saturday Showcase. The replays will also have the podcast of both the Saturday Showcase and the interview with Gordon Shell available by Monday morning, November 11. One way or the other. Plus, we'll also have the YouTube version set and ready to go. I've been working, for those who know me, especially over the last 72 hours, I've been busting my tail trying to put together new slides for the slideshow, because I want to try to keep it new, fresh, and original, and keep, fun to look at. That's why I've been busting tail trying to come up with the little screenshot phrases that a lot of people have said that they appreciate, and I thank you for that. But when you get a chance to, like I said, check out when we sign off. We'll switch it back over to the rotation stream, and you'll be able to hear the Saturday Showcase and the interview with Gordon Shell. I was joined yesterday by the Hitman BDC, Ryan Adcock, the Cause and Effect, Robert Cosper. We're on every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. But I really appreciate the factor that even that for the intent and purpose, like I said, I know in the legal sense, pansy-ass judges, that Michael Vick has supposedly served his time. Okay, he's paid his debt to society, 18 months. Wow. No, I disagree with that too. But he
has no right to be on a professional football field ever again unless he's running from dogs that somebody's tried to fight.
I will openly state this. I would appreciate and enjoy the opportunity to see Michael Vick step up and man up and accept the challenge from Gordon Shell. Because the way that Gordon explained it yesterday during the interview, which I really want everybody to listen to, so I won't go too much further. If the breakdown is and is kept the way that Gordon lays it out there, it will do a lot of good for a lot of people, including but not limited to, different shelters, because he said the money would be dedicated to everything from the Shelter Pet Project to different local shelters, depending on what city they're located in. He wants to do some work in the Detroit area, which Michigan's his home state, and I respect that. And I really would just love to sit back and say, something, Michael, for as many hits as you've taken on an NFL field, for as many hits as you have taken in a college field or a high school game, getting into an MMA cage and taking shots from somebody wearing 9-ounce gloves, 10-ounce gloves, depending on the size, depending on the weight, he said it would go amateur rules. So Muay Thai would not be involved. I say do it. I'll lay the open challenge out there. I'm not going to fight. Go ahead.
I'm sure Michael Vick doesn't listen to this, but I'll even find if he has a Twitter. I'm sure he does. And I'll put it out there. I will say this, and people are going to say that I'm horrible because it's a human life versus an animal. Michael Vick is the only professional athlete that steps on a field that I say every time he steps on the field, I hope he gets hurt. I say that. It comes right out of my mouth. I do not care if he suffers a career-ending injury for what he did to animals, not only that will have to walk around dead or almost dead from the injuries, but for the animals that did lose their lives because they weren't given a choice about what they do. I don't feel bad for that. I really don't. But I will say this, Michael Vick, if you were man enough to take that challenge, I might actually believe that you've changed a little bit. But I'm also going to go on record as saying that regardless of whether his agent would let him do it or not, I don't think Michael Vick's man enough to take the challenge.
I don't think he is either, but that's just my opinion. That's my perspective. I mean, you have to be a special type, and I'll go ahead and use the phrase, you have to be a special breed of individual in order to be able to step up and accept a challenge and man up like that. And I say man up because, of course, reportedly and allegedly, Michael Vick is a man. So
He's not a man.
I'd leave it at that. Loaded question for you. 10 minutes before the top of the hour, and here comes the one you might be a little bit curious about. Taking the world of professional wrestling into proper perspective and noting that on the national scale, that on regular mainstream television shows, situation comedies and dramas, continuity is something that they preach and practice when it comes to writing a television show. Mm-hmm. In pro wrestling, whether it be a local television show, a syndicated television show, or a national platform, booking and continuity both come into play in more ways than one. Mm-hmm. I know you don't normally watch WWE, but I know that we had a conversation.
I don't watch it.
Okay. But I also know that we had a conversation about the way that they laid out Raw, the second and third hours from this past Monday night. You were a part of that. Mm-hmm. And have they forgotten, or has pro wrestling in general kind of gotten away on a larger scale, not the local scale? And I hate using the word indie, but I'm going to say the local scale. Do you think that the national scene has kind of gotten away from what you've heard from utilizing the word continuity and building the show from start to finish?
Yes. But I think that where they're losing it is they don't care about wrestling. They don't understand our drama, our act of play, are played out wrestling, whether it's going from an armbar to a head scissors, or somebody having you in an armbar and being able to get out of it with a body slam or something. That is how we tell our story. That is how our drama is written. And that is not how they are allowing us to portray ourselves anymore. Any place that puts professional wrestling on TV on a national level, whether it be WWE, TNA, they've forgotten what's most important to us, and that's professional wrestling. And that's where they're losing the continuity.
Well, I sit back and I remember the match from Monday night, the 6-man tag that I made such a big deal about, and I stand by that because I went back and rewatched it, just like I rewatched the Alabama LSU game, Roll Tide. And
Roll Tide, yes.
If it's good, I will rewatch it. Kind of like part of the CMAs from last weekend, which, great show for a change.
Oh my God, it was all of you can understand when he was singing. Are you freaking?
Do me a favor, Tasha, if you can hear me. Folks, bear with me. We're dealing with a little bit of a hardwire trouble here inside the studio. I'm going to take us to a brief break, and we will be back in just a couple of minutes right here on Beyond Ringside Live. And we get it worked back out. Thank you. I'll say it. Thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. Greatly appreciated. How long it'll hold up, I have no darned idea. Welcome back into Beyond Ringside. 4 minutes after the top of the hour, live editions, Sunday Night Live. On this 10th day of November 2013, Fast Study Layne, welcoming back in Tasha Simone.
Roll Tide, roll.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome in a very special guest at this time, professional wrestling star Mike Cruz. How you doing tonight, man?
Pretty good, man. How are you guys doing?
It's been a great day in paradise. Had a chance to speak with you a couple of times, worked with you up here in the great state of Alabama, but you've been all over the place, especially over the last few months, because I keep seeing the name pop up, especially down in the Sunshine State and over in the Peach State of Georgia. Before we start getting into all that, let me go ahead and lay out the double play question, what's called the signature question for us. 2 moments everybody has in the world of pro wrestling or whatever their chosen field is. The first moment being when you become a fan, and in our case, pro wrestling. The second moment is when that little light bulb goes off over your head and that voice in the back of your brain goes, I gotta do this. For Mike Cruz, what are those 2 moments?
I wish I could go into detail and narrow it down, but I can't really remember a specific moment for each. I just know I grew up watching wrestling. It was always a part of my life. As far back as I can remember, since I was a baby. I mean, my parents had kids of me with wrestling action figures for Christmas when I was 1 or 2 years old, my birthday and whatnot. So I've always been around it. And then slowly but surely, I kind of fell into amateur wrestling because growing up, I was a big fan of the show Saved by the Bell. And A.C. Slater, if you guys are familiar with that show, was the captain of the wrestling team there.
Mario Lopez.
That
was he your man crush?
No, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far and say that, but
it'll be our secret.
Yeah, he definitely had a big part in me getting involved in amateur wrestling, and then after that, I saw that Kurt Angle had won the Olympic gold medal and went into WWF, so I figured I would follow those pretty much the same footsteps, So I wrestled all throughout high school, and then eventually moved out here to Florida, and my brother had already been training for pro wrestling up in New York, where I'm originally from. The gentleman who trained him in New York, his name is Ricky Vega. He trained at the famous Gleason's gym, and Ricky Vega had moved down to Florida. So when I moved down here, I got in touch with Ricky Vega. One thing led to another, and eventually Ricky Vega became my trainer as well. And yeah, that was pretty much it. I don't know if that was exactly the answer you were looking for. But
Oh, no, that's cool. Because, a lot of people sit back and they say there was one match in particular, one show that they went to, but it's like for you, it was a cumulative process. And you
yeah. It was never, I can't really think back as a one moment. I just know that it was always a part of my life. It was always there. And I always thought I had a shot at it. So I figured, why not, and it turns out I'm actually pretty good at it. So.
Now, when you were making the transition, when you're getting ready to go into professional wrestling in and of itself, two phases. Number one, when you got in the ring for the first time to really start training, How big were the butterflies?
Oh, they were huge. They were huge, man. It was. I knew that my amateur wrestling background would help me with the training, so I wasn't really so worried about the training itself. I was just worried about the different atmosphere. I wasn't really so worried about any of the drills or anything like that because I was in shape. I was athletic, and I wasn't really so worried about that. I was more worried about just the whole different environment and being around some of the guys that I was around. While training, it was definitely different training in a wrestling ring than it was training in a high school gym with wrestling mats. It's a whole different atmosphere. Wrestling is pro wrestling, is a very cosmetic industry. So a lot of guys the discussions that are happening in a pro wrestling gym are a lot different than the discussions that are happening in a high school gym where the wrestling team is. So it was a little bit of a change of atmosphere. But as far as the training itself, I want to say I didn't really have much problems with it. It was. I think I got through it pretty, not easily, but.
Now, how many different? Okay, I know of you in at least 4 different states. How many different areas and states have you worked in?
I've worked in New York, obviously Florida, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina. I went to Puerto Rico once. Pennsylvania was actually where I had my first match. And I want to say that's it. Yeah. About 6 or 7 states and Puerto Rico as well.
The difference in the fans between the lower 48 and Puerto Rico, how crazy I keep hearing the stories from credible sources. How crazy do they really get down there?
I'm sorry, say that again?
How crazy do the fans in Puerto Rico get?
Oh, they're pretty rowdy, man. They love it out there. They love it. I mean, wrestling has a very rich history in Puerto Rico. And it's something, man. The arenas and the stadiums.
Do they still sell cups of rocks and throw spark plugs?
I don't. No, I'm not too familiar with that. I don't know.
Oh God, I must be aging myself. They've calmed down a lot. Then they used to sell cups of rocks for $0.25. Would throw turkey legs and spark plugs.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a first for me. I've never heard that, but yeah, they get pretty rowdy. And they're a lot closer to the action. They're not as held back. Like there's no guardrails. There's very little security there. It's very personal. It's very personal, and the wrestlers out there interact. It's a lot more brawling. It's a different style. So a lot of the wrestlers there throughout their matches, they're brawling throughout the crowd, and they love it, man. This is they're not scared to interact with the wrestlers either, So it was definitely a change of environment from the shows that I was used to working here in Florida.
Now, how many different promotions are you actively working with?
Right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we got Vintage Wrestling, which is pretty much, I want to say, my home promotion.
Okay.
That's the promotion for that I work for the most and most frequently. About once a month, usually it's the first or second week of the month, and in Sanford, Florida. And there's a lot of big guys on there. I know you're familiar with Francisco Fiato, Corey Favis is on there, Simon Says, Team Lucha. They were the tag team champions there. Biff Slater. A bunch of guys that are on there, just a stacked roster, just full of talent there. Then there's FUW, Florida Underground Wrestling, which is out here mainly on the west coast of Florida, up by Tampa, Clearwater area, St. Pete. And their rosters, stacked, man. They're bringing in guys from all over the country, ex-TNA talent, ex-WWE or F talent. They're bringing in legends all the time, and some of the guys are, they're running these pay-per-view shows, and they're giving some exposure to these guys that really are, the future of the business, and a lot of guys like Lindsay Dorado, AR Fox. I was just in a 6-man match with them this past Friday, and it was me, Lindsay Dorado, AR Fox, Rich Swan, Mr. 450, and Angel Santos, and we tore the house down, man. FCW does a great job of not only bringing in talent, but making sure that talent gets seen, not only on the on the local area, but by definitely doing these pay-per-views. They're definitely doing a lot of things for Florida wrestling. And you got those. I was working. It was one of my favorite promotions actually. Was Rampage Pro over in Georgia, in Warner Robins, Georgia. And that was just all around just a good experience. Definitely one of my favorite promotions I've ever worked for. And they had a stacked roster over there too. And a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun working over there, but unfortunately they closed their doors, so RPW is no longer. And those were the first three that right off the bat come to the top of my head. And I just recently started going over to Alabama for GCW, and I'd like to say that me, Francisco Chiato, and Corey Chavis made a pretty nice impact in our debut, and we will be back later this month, November 23rd, to do the same thing.
It's going to be the Pell City Civic Center, Pell City, Alabama, Saturday night, November 23rd, if my notes are correct on that one. Global Championship Wrestling returns. And
Yep.
I'm going to go and ask the question, and I'm probably going to get in serious crap from every side of the coin by asking this, but I'm just going to go ahead and put this one out there. What is the connection between? Is there a connection right now between you, Chiazzo, and Chavis, and AJ Steele?
Are you asking, is there a connection?
Yes.
Yeah, well, AJ Steele he was one of the guys that were pretty much a mainstay in RPW, and that's where I first met him. Was RPW. He was the RPW champion there. Him and Corey have known each other for years. Years. I mean, I want to say 10 plus. And AJ Steele is also good friends with Murder One, who has also known Corey Chavis. So just those three together, they're like the Three Musketeers up there. And when Corey started wrestling down here in Florida a couple of years back, him and Francisco Chiato, actually they knew each other prior because they worked on a lot of the same shows in Georgia, and they didn't even know until they met each other again in Florida and started talking, and they were like, oh yeah, I've worked for this guy and I've worked for this guy and such and such. And they've known each other for I want to say 6 or 7 years, maybe 8 or 9 or whatnot. But I've only been on the indie scene for I want to say 6 years, but just been coming around like the last couple, maybe the last 2 or 3. And so me and Frankie have known each other for a couple of years, and through that I actually got in good with him and with Corey, and through them eventually got in with AJ Steele. So I wouldn't say that there's a real I wouldn't call it a connection, but that's the closest thing I can think of. I mean, yeah, AJ and Corey are pretty cool, but other than that, I wouldn't say there's any other connection between the three of us and AJ Steele.
Okay, just curious on that one. Nate, you weigh in at how much?
I weigh in at 168 pounds, sir.
Now, a question I'd like to ask, and different people have different reactions, that's why I ask it. At your weight, do you like being put into the classification and bracketing or labeled as a cruiserweight or light heavyweight? Or do you feel... Go ahead.
I'm sorry, finish off.
Are you okay with being pigeonholed as a light heavyweight, or would you rather actually just be looked at purely as a pro wrestler?
I'm fine with either or. I get that there's weight categories or whatever, and a lot of people like to say cruiserweights and whatnot because they find cruiserweight action more entertaining. A lot of people are just into that style. So I'm perfectly fine with that, but at the same time, I don't only wrestle cruiserweights. I'm getting in there with guys that are, a lot bigger than me, sometimes twice my size, and I'm holding my own in the ring with them too. So it's I get where the people come with the cruiserweight label or title, but I just want to be considered one of the best pound for pound, not just one of the best cruiserweights, because no matter who you're putting me in the ring with, you're going to get a match. regardless whether it's a cruiserweight or a heavyweight or super heavyweight, as some people might call, some of the giants that are walking around nowadays.
Tasha Simone, come on board with Mike Cruz.
Mike, I'm going to be a huge devil's advocate right now. And if you've ever listened to the show, that's pretty much what I do. How big did you say you were?
I'm 168 pounds.
And you're saying that you can stand toe-to-toe with a heavyweight or a super heavyweight or a cruiserweight?
I've done it.
So what
I'm not saying that I can in the future. I'm saying that I have. And I'm pretty sure it'll happen again.
So here is the devil's advocate part of me.
Uh-huh.
You and I are almost the same size.
I'm sorry?
If I challenge you, what is your response?
Say that again. I'm sorry. You broke up.
I said you and I are basically the same size. So if I challenge you, what is your response?
Well, I'm not going to beat up a girl.
No, you wouldn't beat up a girl. You would kiss your own ass because my forte is professional wrestling. So, and I'm not a girl. I'm a professional wrestler.
Okay. I still would have hit a girl.
Why would you hit me? Because it's professional wrestling. It's not boxing.
No, I wouldn't do it. I've never wrestled a girl. I never will.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
I've wrestled a girl in high school.
So if you would wrestle a girl in high school, why would you not wrestle a girl in a professional wrestling ring? As long as she's a trained professional.
No, when I'm in the ring, I'm in there to do business, and I don't feel comfortable doing business with a girl. As bad as that might make me seem or sound, or if that makes me seem sexist or whatever the case may be, I'm getting in the ring, and I know this is a tough business, and no disrespect to any girls. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of female wrestling. That's me personally.
Me either.
I'm not a fan of it. There are a handful of girls that I feel keep the integrity of women's wrestling up. But when I say a handful, I mean a handful. Now, I can't think of any more than 5 girls off the top of my head. So I'm not a fan of it, and that's just me, When I get in the ring, it's a tough business, and in order for us to keep the integrity of pro wrestling as a whole, we got to hold our own in there, and I'm not going to hold my own against a girl.
Well, now, going along with being the devil's advocate, I absolutely agree that we need to keep the integrity of professional wrestling up. I was trained by Gentleman Chris. I've had longevity in this sport probably older than your professional wrestling boots. The first 2 years that I actively wrestled, I did not wrestle women at all. I never touched a woman in training, and I was taught a fine technique that very few people even know how to spell anymore. It's called shoot and hook. Mm-hmm. And while I agree that not wrestle women, even though I did it and they lost because I made them lose, not because it was a work, I absolutely think that cruiserweights in the ring with a heavyweight are also making the integrity of the business go down.
Okay, well, you're more than welcome to have that opinion. I completely disagree.
It's no different than being in the ring with a well-trained professional woman. And while I say that, I absolutely hate women in the business because they think that they need to be swimsuit mom.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're going to go that route, the same thing goes for guys. I mean, how many bodybuilders are we having that are getting into our business just based off their look? I mean, I said it earlier.
How you would feel about that?
Yeah, I'm completely against it. I hate the fact that there are guys with $1 million bodies, and I get it. Wrestling, like I said earlier, wrestling is a very cosmetic sport. But if you can't wrestle, you can't wrestle. Not everyone is cut to do what we do. And you can't just walk in with your $1 million body and just expect to do what I do in the ring. That's not going to happen.
I wish more promoters would think like that.
At the end of the day, you'll have that $1 million body, but if you can't, if you don't know what you're doing in that ring, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt whoever you're working with, and that's bad business. That's terrible. And I think it's a shame that the bigger companies would rather hire a bodybuilder and try to teach them to wrestle than hire an actual wrestler and just put them on a diet or get them bigger or whatever the case is. I'm a smaller guy, and I've gotten told by numerous vets, in just about every locker room that I've ever worked in, that the only reason why I'm not signed is because I'm not big enough. And I've accepted that. Because I don't want to be a part of a business where I have to be 200 plus pounds just to get a look at. That's fine. If you want to look at me and say I don't have what it takes to be a wrestler, you can go ahead and say that. But get in the ring with me and I'll show you different. That's just my personal opinion.
Loaded question, Mike.
Yeah.
Other than using the words "by hiring me" or "hire me," what would you dare WWE to do, knowing that you could help make their product better?
What would I dare them to do?
Yeah.
I would dare. It's not even me. I don't want to say hire me, because honestly, I don't. I'm past me getting signed and me getting picked up and whatever. I'm past that. Like, I've already kind of accepted the fact that it may never happen because of my size, and I'm okay with that, because I know when you look at what I do in the ring, that I can hold my own in the ring, and I know what I'm doing. You're not looking at me and wondering, what is this kid doing in the ring right now? WWE, and I don't want to even say that they're not doing it, because they are. They some of the guys that are on top right now know what they're doing. But you still got a handful of guys that they're just they're just bodies. They're just there for the spectacle. They create that illusion. That they're larger than life, and I get it. That's what being a superstar is all about. But to me, it's all about wrestling first and before the business. And if you don't know what you're doing in the ring, then you don't belong in the ring, regardless of how good you look. But that's just my personal opinion.
What's your favorite?
So I can't say that I would dare WWE to do anything. I mean, every company is going to play both sides of the fence. You got to have some guys that know what they're doing. You got to have some guys that know what they're doing in the ring, so that they can lead the guys who don't know what they're doing and get them in the ring. But at the same time, you're taking a risk in losing some of your top talent, real talent, guys that know what they're doing. You're taking a risk in losing those guys by putting them in a ring with someone who has no clue what they're doing. And at the end of the day, it sucks, but it is what it is. That's the nature of the beast.
For the time that you've been active in pro wrestling, and everybody has it, you can look at it one of two ways. Either to relive because you enjoyed it so much, or to redo because there was something you'd like to change. What is one match you'd like to have back right now?
A match that I would like to have back, maybe I guess relive. I wouldn't redo anything, because I'm a man with very few regrets. I don't have regrets. I look at negative experiences as learning lessons. And I just look back on them and learn from them and move on. There's no sense in looking at the past and trying to change it, because that's not going to happen. So you're just wasting your time looking at that, and eventually you're just going to ruin your future, or not ruin it, but let it slip right through your fingers. So when I look at maybe bad matches that I've had, or I just look back at it, and it's a learning lesson. That's it. It's just a tool that I use to make myself better for the future. So I would definitely go with relive instead of redo, and I would probably say it would have to be the one and only match that I've had with my trainer, Ricky Vega. The professional wrestling academy that I was trained at was called FXE, Federation X Entertainment.
Okay.
And I trained there I want to say I was there for a little over 2 years before they actually started running shows. So once they started running shows, I want to say it was the third. They only ran a handful, honestly, due to bad managerial decisions from the guy who owned the gym. But I want to say it was the third show. Me and Ricky Vega we were in the main event, and we had a very tough match, a very good back and forth match, with 20 minutes or so, and it was awesome. It was awesome to be in there and put what he taught me to use against him. You know, and it was almost like my stamp of approval from him. Almost like, you know, it means, obviously, you're going to always want the approval of the vets in this sport, the guys who paved the way for you and stuff. But it's I think it means so much more when you get the stamp of approval from the guy who's actually training you. You know, you might have outsiders that are looking in that say, oh, this guy's good, you know, he's good. But if the guy who's training you, who knows you the most, doesn't think you're at that level, that's what really matters. You know, and for Ricky to want that spot with me in the main event, and you know, for me to show him that I can go and put whatever he's taught me to use in the right way, then that really meant a lot to me. So I would definitely probably go back to that and relive that.
Now, when you and I first worked together, you were one-on-one in a match with Spiral up here in Alabama with Global Championship Wrestling.
Correct.
And the two of y'all just absolutely brought it. Tremendous match from start to finish. And
Thank you.
promoter calls tomorrow and gives you the open option to pick your opponent and the type of match that you can have. Who and what kind?
Huh. I wouldn't get a match stipulation. I'm a really big fan of just pure wrestling, so I wouldn't try to alter a match in any way. But as for an opponent, that's weird. The little kid in me would like to say Kurt Angle, just because he played a big role in my road to wrestling, you can say, the way I chose to get into it with the whole amateur wrestling background and stuff. He was definitely he's definitely one of my all-time favorites. Yeah, so I guess I would say Kurt Angle and just a regular match.
Got a question. Knowing the fact that you're going to be back up here on the 23rd. Actually, before I do that, Tasha, got another question for Mike?
Nope.
Okie doke. Knowing that you're going to be back up here on November 23rd, I don't have the full listing directly in front of me. I know that there have been some serious questions brought up about a lot of things going on the 23rd that we're hoping to get straightened out real quick about the overall lineup. Oh, boy. Welcome back to the commissioner's job. And
So are you rogue now or not?
who, me?
Yeah.
Why would I be rogue?
Well, because you went rogue, but nobody ever said why you weren't rogue.
There's some things that do not get discussed in public forums.
Well, you suck.
If you're there on the 23rd, Tasha, you might just find out.
I am with bells on.
Now, in addition to the 23rd, what upcoming appearances have you got?
What upcoming events?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you kind of broke up there towards the end.
Sorry about that.
Well, the 23rd, GCW in City, Alabama. December 7th, right here in Orlando, Florida. I'll be with USA Pro taking on former TNA star Jesse Neal. December 15th, Vintage Wrestling will be doing a fundraiser show for Winter Springs High School. That will be over in Central Florida. In January, Vintage has the biggest show of the year, which is called Wrestle Brawl 5. I'll be taking on the marquee Bruce Santee, who's, for whatever reason, had a bone to pick with me the last couple of months. He's one of those guys that doesn't think I should be in a ring because I'm too small. So we'll see how that goes. And can't think of anything past January, but yeah, that's pretty much it. This is usually the slower part of the year, with the holidays coming up and stuff like that. So as of right now, that'll be it. Yeah.
Yeah, with the holiday season and college football headed into the chase, and with everything else going on with the NBA kicking off, and I know down in South Florida you've got teams to play with, whether they be Orlando or Miami. And yeah. Which way do you go on that too?
I would go with the Heat. Yeah, I'm not a big basketball fan. I'm not really a fan of anything besides pro wrestling, if that, and MMA. I'm a big MMA fan. Any other sport to me just doesn't really grab my attention as much as those two. But whatever I do follow on basketball, I would have to put the heat on that.
Yeah, I'm a Hawks fan, and I don't see us I'm burning down the walls this year. But you know something? I'm a Hawks fan start to finish, and I'll be watching every game that I possibly can because I will support my team through the good times and the not so good times.
There you go. You're a real fan.
Dude, kind of like with the Hawks, the Braves, and the Falcons. I've been there. I'm just like, I went to the games in Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, back in the '80s. I suffered through the bad times, and I was joyful when we actually made it to the playoffs. But that's, you know, you take the good with the bad and the bad with the good, and you pray for the best every day.
Yes, sir.
Brother, I want to go ahead and extend an invitation. Let you know that the door is always open if you've got upcoming events that you want to try to get the word out about, and we'd love to have you come back on sometime.
I will definitely keep that in mind. I appreciate it.
I look forward to it. Mike, a definite pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest at this time, Mike Cruz, has just gone beyond ringside. Hang tight with us. We will be back in 5 on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. It's been a great day, and it's been a fun night so far on this 10th day of November. Welcome back into Beyond Ringside Live. Yours truly, Fast Eddie Layne, being rejoined by Tasha Simone. Glad to have you back, Tosh.
Thanks. Sometimes it really would be interesting if the mics were still on when we're at break.
Those would be some intriguing conversations for everybody to hear.
And I do get serious sometimes. I just did.
Yeah, I'll agree to that. Want to remind everybody, Back to Basics and the Tuesday Night Conversation returns this Tuesday night, 10 Eastern, 9 Central. I will be joined by professional wrestling star Matt Tremont. The Bulldozer will be right here on Beyond Ringside. Back to Basics for the Tuesday Night Conversation. Getting things geared up. Matt's got 2 appearances coming up that I'm really going to focus on. Number 1 is going to be on the 16th and 17th. Depending on the way things progress in Carnage Cup for the tournament for IWA Deep South, I will say the 16th for sure, and if he advances, he goes to the 17th, and also in the month of December for Combat Zone Wrestling. So we'll have a chance to talk about those shows and a whole lot more with the Bulldozer Matt Tremont right here on Back to Basics Tuesday night. Keep your eyes open on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. We got a lot of great things going on and then some. Brand new show will be debuting in the next couple of weeks right here on the network on a Monday night. Cause and Effect. Robert Cosper and company will be coming on board. And you never know what's going to happen when that one occurs. And, of course, don't forget, Wednesdays, 10 Eastern p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. My tag team partner this evening, Tasha Simone, the Wicked Nemesis, Mad Dog Matt Denton for the To Be Determined Show. Pro Wrestling Radio, uncensored, and then some.
And that means legally the babysitter can drop that F-bomb that he should have waited till Wednesday night to drop. Shame on you, Eddie.
The mics were
Shame
off.
on you.
The mics were off. I had no problem saying it off air. And the F-bomb that she's talking about me dropping is Fritos.
He's lying. It's fun.
There you go. We'll work on that one too. Haha. I knew you wouldn't do it. You set yourself up for it. You do it spontaneously, but you won't do it on the setup.
What? Frick, crack?
She's bringing sexy front.
I'm being gentle tonight. I almost wasn't gentle. You almost saw Tasha Simone's halo bracket.
New England had an off day today, didn't they?
You what?
New England had an off day today, didn't they?
Yes, we're off. So I am an honorary member of the Who Dat Nation right now.
And that game is going to be 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern tonight on the NBC as the Dallas Cowboys head for the Superdome for the New Orleans Saints.
I have to say this. My Cajun is at the game right now, and she said for anybody who can, they really need to tune in because just like all of the teams are doing, they are doing a very huge special veteran memorial stunt before the kickoff.
So everybody wants to make sure and tune into that so they can at least join in watching them honor our veterans like I hope everybody's done for every NFL game today.
And everybody knows, of course, here in the lower 48, Veterans Day is tomorrow domestically. And I will say, I've said this on a number of occasions, and a lot of longtime listeners and friends of the show know, my father served 2 tours of Korea as a United States Marine. And my father getting ready to celebrate his 83rd birthday in a couple of months from now, and I'm greatly looking forward to being there right along beside of him for it. And
Right.
I
was talking to the dog.
Not only do I appreciate what my father did and respect what my father has done, but I will also stand here, I'm still to this day, and say that, you know, when I grow up, if I can be half the man that he is, then I'll be a happy fat man. That's all I can say. Of course, my father would like for me to be half the person that I am right now. In other words, he'd love to see me lose weight. So here's the deal on that one. The challenge has been put down to me. The gauntlet has been thrown down in front of me. And I am now beginning to take on the mission of dropping, honestly and sensibly dropping 20 pounds. I currently weigh in at 225 pounds. I want to get down to 205 pounds. I am not setting a time limit. I'm not going to say, I'll do this in a month or I'll do this by New Year's Eve. I'm going to sit back and say, I will take the time and make the investment to exercise, to eat smarter, and to take care of myself to where I can drop 25 pounds. And when I get down to 205 and then 200, we'll work on it from there. My ultimate goal was to get back to 180 pounds. But I'm taking everything one step at a time. I'm playing it smart. I've been weighing the pros and cons of different places to work out around where I live in central Alabama, and who's going to have the most intelligent staff that is going to help me find the right course of action. Now, as a former power lifter, you know, I know how to put my body in the right condition, but I also know at 47, my body responds differently now than it did when I was 27. So I'm looking at things through, I'm not looking through rose-colored lenses. I'm looking at things through very open eyes. So, like I say, for those who have seen me, the last round of pictures over on Facebook, facebook.com/FastStudyLayne, or over on Instagram at FastStudyLayne, that look will be changing over the course of the next few months. Like I said, I'm not going to do stupid things and crash diet. I'm looking at what I eat, when I eat it, how I eat it. It's not just going to be a case of ransacking the Golden Corral anymore. Although I do admit the fact that I'm really kind of ticked that this starts tomorrow and I didn't make it down to Cracker Barrel for the homestyle chicken dinner. It would have been my farewell dinner in that particular regard. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw the challenge over, knowing the factor of how hard Tasha has been in the gym over the last few months. And of course, everybody knows, for those who really follow Tasha, you know that her trainer, one of her trainers, has been professional wrestling and MMA star, Kid Cash, David Cash. From your perspective, and I'm opening the door, and I know what I'm setting myself up for, what would be the number one thing that you would tell me getting back into a workout and exercise regimen?
Cardio. You have to watch your cardio. You have to watch your diet. Do not look in the mirror. Do not look at the scales. Look at how your clothes fit.
Exactly.
So many people get into the gym and they immediately run to the scales, or they immediately start looking in the mirror. And if they don't see results, they get discouraged. What you need to do is look at your closet, and after a couple of weeks, when you see that your pants are fitting looser or your shirts are fitting a little loose, that's how you know that you're working hard. But you also have to remember, if you're going to work out and be serious about it, all them Krispy Kreme donuts you're thinking about, Eddie, do not fit into a good, healthy training regimen.
Okay, here's the fun. Yeah, go ahead. Rib me on the Facebook gimmick. I made a mistake when I was making a post on Facebook, and lo and behold, I made the comment about that's what I get for smoking donut holes. And everybody just ran with it. It's like...
I just have to say this. Joshua O'Hagan Blur, who, by the way, I still haven't found a box of Crayolas with the color Blur in them. I'm still waiting on my Blueberry Munchkin. That is all.
Oompa loompa doompa dee doo. I already know. I can 2 + 2 equals. Leave it alone.
Oh, I'm just being smart, but I really am still waiting on my Blueberry Munchkins. I always give him a hard time about Munchkins.
And blueberries.
No, just Munchkins. I just happen to like Blueberry Munchkins. They're my favorite.
Okay.
Or the little peach ball ones, but I don't think they have those on the menu anymore.
You know, I sit back and I take a look, and this is something I was watching earlier today, and I was watching the Jimmy Johnson Invitational from Phoenix. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this one, kids.
I'm not even going to talk about it.
Well, I am perfectly okay with Kevin Harvick winning. I like Kevin Harvick as a driver and as a professional. I'm, the number 29 Jimmy John Chevrolet under Richard Childress Racing. Perfectly cool. Kevin's a great guy. I feel ultimately horrible for the fact that Carl Edwards ran out of gas just before the white flag lap started. My father, who is a Carl Edwards fan, and my late mother was a Carl Edwards fan, and I know that my dad is probably throwing things through the wall because of the factor of Edwards running out of gas. And if I was Edwards, I would have actually tried to find a way to pit the same time Harvick did. That way it could have been a real shootout for the two of them. But I think knowing the factor of Edwards' misfortunes on a NASCAR track over the last few months, I think that they probably thought that they would have a better result by going ahead and taking the risk. You agree or disagree?
I'm sorry, I was watching football for a minute with Colin Kaepernick getting exposed yet again. Could you repeat the question?
It's okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Just when you go for the intelligent, logical questions, she's watching the guys in the tight pants all over again. Not, hey, that's right up your alley, though.
No, not really.
What, guys in tight pants?
Yeah, I think they're all gay anyway. They smack each other on the butt way too much. But anyway, Colin, ask me about racing.
Okay, you were saying you weren't going to talk about the Jimmy Johnson Invitational.
Yes.
Do you not? Okay, I made the statement earlier today, and my roommates heard me do this. And I was speaking with my father on the telephone. We were talking about the race. And I made the comment, I would rather Johnson win it again than Keselowski win it again. Of course, Keselowski's not even in the chase. Yay.
I agree. I agree with that.
And my problem with...
I'm not a Keselowski fan.
Well, it's not that I am or am not a fan. I do not particularly care. Of course, last year when he was running for the championship, it's a case of he was taking way too many unnecessary risks. And there is a difference between driving aggressively and driving stupid. Number 2, I will never forget him sitting there at the late interview with that giant bottle of champagne and him trashed off his ass. And I do mean off his hell damn ass. And I'm going, NASCAR really needs to do something about this. I heard he got fined for it, which I'm perfectly happy with, and it was justified fine. It's just, this kid was not a good representative as the champion of NASCAR. But by the same token, you know me, okay, look, I would love to see, and I was totally prepared if the race ended the way that it did to see if Casey Kane was going to get out of the way and let Johnson go ahead of him. And I don't think Kane would have. I think Kane's in that revolving door for Hendrick Motorsports. But that's an entirely different animal because I think Dale Jr. is about to hit that revolving door. Isn't his contract up this year?
Yeah. I don't like some of the things that have happened with Junior this year. Just to be perfectly blunt, I think that overall throughout this year that people have learned that NASCAR can be worked as much as any other sport can.
Are you happening to refer to the fact that in 2 races during the chase that Dale Jr. has done the honors and been the good teammate and gotten out of the way and let Johnson take the checkered flag?
Yes. And I hate that because I think that them asking Dale Jr. to do that is not just trashing NASCAR, it's trashing the Earnhardt name, too.
Yeah, that's one all into itself that I would just really like to take a good strong run on as far as verbal goes, but I'm not going to do it. I am really not. The way that I look at things, okay. There are so many things out there right now, and I had meant to do this during the opening segment, and I would like to say, because I've been scrolling through the channels just a minute ago, and by the way, for the record, final score, Denver 28, San Diego 20. I'm not surprised by that in the least. But the way that I'm looking, what I wanted to say was I've been reading the news stories and I've been hearing about it on the different channels, and I think I can speak for the entire cast and crew of the entire network when I say that our thoughts, prayers, and best wishes go out to, thoughts and prayers go out to the families of everybody affected by the typhoon, which has struck. Over 10,000 dead in one city, and the count keeps going higher, and it's sad to hear about. And I know that there's going to be fundraising drives in the near future. So I'm going to say, look, when it comes to a situation, granted, a lot of things that we enjoy here in the States come from that country, which is truth. I know that there's going to be a huge cleanup and a huge rebuilding process over there. And I know that typhoon is not done yet. So once again, on behalf of all of us, I will say our thoughts and our prayers go out to everyone overseas who has been affected by the typhoon in its current form and in the form in which it's getting ready to approach another landmass. So, anything you'd like to add?
Nope.
I'm just, because and it's funny because I listen to some of the things that I say. I listen to some of the things that you say. I listen to Wick, especially I listen to Wick, and I hear us. I would be afraid for the 3 of us in particular, and we'll go ahead and bring Hitman and Cosper into the equation as well, and I know Ted would be able to weigh in on it. He would have a lucid point or 3. If we all ended up in a full-scale political roundtable discussion, would there be anything left but the embers and the ashes?
No. Should we start talking about Obamacare now?
That would be a no. Address all complaint letters to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C., because they give about as much of a damn as I do. But I'll tell you the truth. That's the extent of what I'm going to say.
I'll tell you the truth, too. Hitler started out taking their guns and wanting socialized health care. That is all.
There you go. You were talking about the Dallas-New Orleans game tonight, and Miami-Tampa Bay is tomorrow. The Battle of Florida to a great degree, even though they can't do a 3-way dance with Jacksonville. Damn, that sucks. That'd be funny as hell to have a 3-way dance. In football. I must say the word properly. Football. Okay. Your pick for tomorrow, Miami and Tampa Bay.
Miami, and I'm so sick of hearing about Richie Incognito and Martin. Martin, grow a set. He had already been heard to say that he wanted out of the NFL. So could he be a man and just say, I don't want to play anymore because I'm a pussy? No. He has to make this a racially charged bullying case. And I'm so sick of hearing about bullying anyway. It's called natural selection. Seriously. You're either prey or you're a freaking predator. Richie Incognito is a predator. Martin is the prey. And he was friends with him. He just is looking for a lawsuit so he can get out of his contract and make money while he's doing it. So whatever. But the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Dolphins anyway because I don't think the Buccaneers have what it takes to win tomorrow night. And it's one of those useless Monday night games in which Raw will appreciate and probably gain 0.5% in the audience. I'm swell. Because I know Wicked Nemesis is going to be watching it because he's a Miami fan. But,
yes, I know.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and weigh in on this, and this is somebody who can speak from experience, not necessarily from the bullying side, even though I was bullied and I fought back. And sometimes that fight was a victory, and other times it cost me.
Okay, but here's the thing. Before you go any further, there is a difference between being picked on and being bullied. This nation as a whole has grown into a nation of pussy. Kids have always picked on each other. Grown-ups have always picked on each other. And what it comes down to is you either take it and lay down and crawl home with your tail tucked between your legs, or you stand up for yourself and you man up and you grow a set, and you may still get your butt kicked, but the person who was picking on you respects you, and generally they back off, and even if they kicked your butt, they'll take care of you.
Tell you what, on that note, we're going to head for the top of the hour break. Folks, we will be back in 5. This is Beyond Ringside Live.
This is the greatest wrestler the world has ever known, the magnificent J.P. Magnum, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
On an incredible Sunday night, this is Beyond Ringside Live. 9 minutes after the top of the hour, welcome back in live from Studio One on this 10th day of November. And a private joke between myself and a couple of 100,000 people. Yes, every once in a while, I do get the date right. Sometimes I get it wrong. I can
You
think.
had a calendar in front of you, didn't you?
Yes, I did actually this time. Tasha, Simone, welcome back in.
What's up? What's up?
Like I said, it's been a beautiful day, and it's been a great night, and it's going to keep getting better. Friends, longtime friend of the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, joining us right here and right now. He is the man behind it all, not only with LXW, the League of Extraordinary Wrestlers, but he is the man behind it all with IWA Deep South. Kevin Brannon, welcome in, my friend.
I'm glad you had me back, Eddie.
It is always a pleasure. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You know for a fact that the door is always open. I've had an opportunity to work with some really great shows with IWA Deep South and with LXW, and on the horizon, next Saturday and next Sunday, November 16 and 17. See, I get the dates right every once in a while. IWA Deep South presents Carnage Cup 9. Now, for those who have come along over the last year and are not familiar with the Carnage Cup concept, I would like to ask you to lay it out there for everybody.
Carnage Cup is our annual death match tournament that we do, and I started back in 2005. I won't go through a in-depth history, but just briefly, I was the first one to start promoting a deathmatch tournament in the South, and so we've been doing this as our 9th one, and it's more extreme than hardcore. Most people are used to hardcore, chairs, tables, ladders, maybe some thumbtacks, and a little bit of barbed wire, but ours would be in the ultra-violent category, which would be like the most violent of the violent, the most extreme of the extreme. Whatever the most violent match you can think of. At times we go even further than, your imagination. And so the guys that go out there and bust their ass every year when we do these, and we try to top the previous year. And so if you're not a fan of the ultra violence, then, it probably wouldn't be a good show. There'll be, for you to come to, there'll be one match on Sunday that will be a standard match, but it's pretty much, blood and guts, ultra violence for the most part. And so if you're a big fan of it, if you're remotely close to Tennessee, we're in Tullahoma. It's about 45, 50 miles south of Nashville. So, there's people coming in from New York, Pennsylvania, people coming in from all over to come to this year. So I'd say if you're remotely within the area, I would say come, but then there's people coming from, thousands of miles. So, if really love this style. There's not a whole lot of us left. Besides the Carnage Cup, the only other annual deathmatch tournament that runs is Tournament of Death, put on by CZW.
Right.
And right now we're the two biggest ones. There's some smaller ones that are not as well known, but Carnage Cup and Tournament of Death are the two most well-known deathmatch tournaments now in the U.S. So if you don't have plans next weekend, I recommend coming out to Tullahoma, Tennessee, Saturday and Sunday.
Because normally I would make the statement that if you're within 2 hours, but an event such as this is so unique. And actually, I mean, having been to a couple of them, the audience is so diverse. And I meet a lot of people who say that they have gone for the first time and really enjoyed it. And this will be my third opportunity to either be at or be a part of Carnage Cup. And the first time that I was there, I didn't know what to expect live and in person. I'd seen it on DVD. I'd seen it on video demand from different companies, including Westside Extreme over in the European market. And I'd never been to an event live. And I will say this. It is a completely unique and different style of professional wrestling. And there are people out there that go, these guys aren't trained. Well, you know something? You haven't really seen it up close. You haven't really paid attention, because I know for a fact that a lot of the guys who are on this tournament or in this tournament, are very accomplished professional wrestlers in the traditional mainstream sense, as well as accomplished in the ultraviolet / deathmatch category. So I will step up to the plate for that, because I've had an opportunity to watch a number of these guys work traditional matches, as well as the deathmatch style. So for those who say, well, do your homework first, and don't let what happens in your backyard affect what happens when trained professionals do it. There is a difference between what happens inside the confines of your backyard and what happens inside the confines of a real professional wrestling ring with real wrestlers. So we'll leave that at that. And let's take a look at before we do, let me go ahead and lay this one out there. Now, advance tickets, they are still available, right?
That's correct. Advance tickets have been moving really good this year. I had a really good response with advance tickets this year. And if you want to get your tickets and save some money, the two-day ticket is $30, and then the one-day ticket is $15. That's the advance price. If you wait until Saturday, then there'll be $40 for the two-day ticket or $20 for a single day. And so, you're saving some money. You're gonna come out better. Go and get them in advance. There's a lot. Several people have already gotten them in advance. A lot of people from out of state have already gotten theirs. And so I encourage anybody that wants to save some money to get in touch with me. You can go to www.iwadeepsouth.com. You can go to the IWA Deep South Facebook page, or you can email me at alabamapro@hotmail.com. And if you have PayPal, then you can order your tickets online with a PayPal account. And so I encourage you to do that if you hadn't already gotten yours.
And also, I'd recommend people taking a look over at iwalxw.com, because there is you get a chance to catch not only what's going on with the tournament itself, but you also get a chance to take a look and get an opportunity to look at some of the previous DVDs or videos on demand. And of course, by the way, that brings me to my next question. This one, of course, has in previous days you have shot for DVD and video on demand. Are you going to be doing it for this one?
Yes, I will be shooting it for DVD and video on demand. I had hoped to do a pay-per-view, but it didn't work out this year. But I've got some new things in the works for next year, and so I always try to plan for bigger and better. So next year when we do Carnage Cup 10, I'm hoping it to be bigger and better. And so, but this year it will be on DVD and video on demand. And like you said, the website has the entire catalog every IWA Deep South show we've done, and the 3 LXW shows. We have all those on DVD for purchase off the website. So if there's a show that you want to see that you missed or haven't saw on DVD, then we've got every one of them on the website.
And of course, the video, the first run of the DVD as well as the video on demand will be available through SmartMark Video, right?
Yes, that'll be through SmartMark Video for this one, yeah.
And do we do the shameless plug for the people who will be shooting the video?
Yeah, SmartMarkVideo.com.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if Blue Fedora was going to be out there doing the shooting themselves, or if their SmartMark was going to have their people.
No, it'd be SmartMark Video. I'll be shooting this one.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so they'll be shooting it, and I'll never know. It may be somebody different next year. I'm working on those couple things in the works. So, but for this one though, it will be SmartMark Video.
Not a problem. I'm always happy to see them out there. They run a great organization. Let's take a look at some of the matches that you've got coming up as part of Carnage Cup 9 this coming weekend. The 16th and 17th in Tullahoma, Tennessee. A hostile death match, AHOSTEL. Now, I've got a basic idea, but I want to hear it from you. It's going to feature the Angel of Death, John Rare, taking on Christian Cross.
Okay, a hostile. If most are you familiar with the movies, Hostile.
Yeah.
We, just borrow that, from the movie, but it basically. The gimmicks in the match are going to be torture gimmicks type, and so it's going to be similar to like how we did the Saw matches, but it's going to be a different, array of weapons. Different. Some of them will be different, and that's Angel of Death, John Rare against Christian Cross. Everybody knows John Rare. I mean, he debuted back in Carnage Cup 7 and had the first Saw match with Spider. They've had a feud they've been running for a while, so I don't know if they'll be able to continue it at this show. But anyway, he's got Christian Cross first round, and he's a young upstart newcomer. He's trying to make a name for himself. I've spoken with him several times, and this kid's crazy. I mean, he's pretty much willing to do anything, put his body on the line, and go and pull it all out, to try to take a win over John Rare. So this one's going to be a really brutal match, I believe, because you got two guys. I mean, both those two guys are two of the crazier guys that are on the tournament. I mean, all the guys are crazy, but there's some guys on the tournament more so than others, that'll take go that extra mile, to ensure that they win the match, not just win the match, but, hurt their opponents,
First round matchup in Carnage Cup 9. Pat's Purgatory Death Match is the theme. Yukon Jack taking on a good friend of ours here on the network, Freak Show.
Yukon Jack is a local professional wrestler in Tullahoma. And he books. There's the building we're running. They run a show every Friday, and he's the guy. He's the main booker guy, and so he's got a real big following up in that area. And so we wanted to get him on there because he's a local favorite, and this is our first time going to Tullahoma. And him and Freak Show are no stranger. They had blood feuds in the Tullahoma area and all throughout Tennessee. Everybody knows Freak Show. Freak Show's been on every Carnage Cup since 2005. He's a 2007 Carnage Cup winner. Last year, himself along with Spider Boudreaux were both inducted into the Deep South Ultraviolet Hall of Fame. They were the first two inductees into the Deep South Ultraviolet Hall of Fame. So, and these two are gonna. They got bad blood. They got a feud that's been running for a couple of years now. The Pat's Purgatory, the gimmick, there's a guy named Pat Cruz, a good friend of mine. He's going to be supplying the gimmicks for that match. I don't know what he's going to bring. I'll just let him pretty much bring what he wants, and so whatever Pat brings, that's what they'll have to work with. And so I don't really know what to expect, other than it should be a real heated match because they got bad blood. But in terms of gimmicks, I don't have any idea right now.
A lot of people in the Southeastern US are going to know these two names in the first round of Carnage Cup. It's a nail-in-the-head death match. Bryant Wood taking on J Impact. Kevin?
Brian Woods, Suicidal Beast. Brian Woods, he's one half of the tag team. Sickness was Spider Boudreaux. He debuted last year at Carnage Cup 8 against Spider Boudreaux in the first round, and he come up short against Spider. He's going to be taking on J Impact. J Impact's a newcomer. He debuted back at Cage of Carnage in March. He's a young, high-flying guy. Does a lot of spots and flashy moves. And Brian's just no nonsense, just smash mouth. So it's going to be a styles clash. Because Brian's more of a brawler, and Jay's more of a high flyer. And so they got nail in the head. I know. For what Brian's told me, this is Brian's match. I know he's going to have a bed of nails, and from what I've been told, to finish the match, you have to nail a nail in your opponent's head. And I know it sounds crazy, but
yeah,
that's the way it's looking like. You have to finish your opponent with that. So that's going to be rough, man.
A smash, pow, boom death match. Tank taking on the Bulldozer, Matt Tremont.
This one's going to be a good one. Matt Tremont, everybody knows he debuted back in Carnage Cup 7. That was actually his first deathmatch tournament. He debuted with me before going to CZW. I mean, he's accomplished a lot in just a couple of years. He's pretty much the top deathmatch guy in CZW right now. Tank, I mean, he's been around a long time. He started back at NWA Wildside.
Yep.
He was the first Carnage Cup winner back in 2005. He beat the Necro Butcher in the finals of the very first Carnage Cup. And so this is his first show back in several years. It's just going to be a real stiff match. Just two big guys in there beating the hell out of each other. Smash, boom. Smash, pow, boom. A lot of Line 2 bundles in there. VCRs, DVD players, Xbox. Trash can, just, stuff. It's going to be smash, pow, boom, And so it's going to be I would just say a good, stiff brawl match. And that's what I would say about that one.
The Dead Sea Circus Net Death Match. That can easily be misconstrued and mispronounced by me especially. It's going to be the IWA Deep South champion, Spider Boudreaux, taking on California Deathmatch star J.D. Horror. Kevin?
Everybody knows Spider Boudreaux. He's been with me since my first show. He was last year's winner, Carnage Cup 8 winner, Deep South Ultraviolet Hall of Fame inductee, reigning IWA Deep South champions. He's won every accolade that the company has to offer. Facing J.D. Hart. J.D. Hart is, from what I understand, is the top deathmatch guy in California. He's not been around too long, but he's stepped up the ladder, and he's crazy. I mean, he'll do anything. He's a really well-rounded, accomplished wrestler, as well as just crazy, sick, ultraviolet style. Nobody does it better, from what I've heard in California. Death Sea, it's going to be a lot of fish hooks in there, fishing line, fish hook bats, seashells. a frame gimmick, double layer with barbed wire on bottom, fishing line with fish hooks on top. And I know that's probably hard to visualize. You just have to come and see it, because I try to explain it, and people say, "What the hell? Well, what's a box with a fishing line and barbed wire?" Well, you just have to come and see it, So that one is going to be a really brutal match. Two guys, that just don't give a damn. They'll do anything to win. So it should be a good one.
See, the fun part for me is, and you're speaking to somebody who admired the hardcore style back years ago when it was mainstream with Extreme Championship Wrestling and WCW doing their version of it and WWE doing their version of it, and you really didn't see that much innovation. And this is something that I will say, having been to 3 Carnage Cups, there is innovation involved. They look to step it to the next level. It's not just garbage cans and kendo sticks, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. They go through the time and the thought process to come up with these different weapons. And it's just, it astounds me. And you made a reference to me before we hit the 6th match. You made a reference to me that there were going to be 2 good friends of the show coming up to do commentary for the DVD taping. And one of them, of course, good friend of ours, Smooth Pleasing. And the other one is a person that has gotten me to pop on more than one occasion because of an invention that he created. And Tasha, I don't know if I'm still listening to me point blank on this one, but I told you about this before. Nathan Hamilton's the gentleman's name, and he is the one who created the barbed wire toilet seat that I pop for. Literally pop.
Oh,
yes. So,
Lord have mercy.
And needless to say, when Nathan said that he was going to put one together for me, he said, of course, it was going to be a clean toilet seat and clean barbed wire, not ring used. I'm going, thank you. It's going in the studio.
Oh, but what the hell? There's no fun in that if it's not used already. That's part of the draw to it, the hair, eyes, and teeth that are stuck to the barbed wire.
You don't seem to remember the fact that I'm actually a germaphobe, right?
Yeah, that's why you're sick, dude. That's what causes you to get sick. Germs. How do you like hardcore and be a germaphobe?
Because I'm at a distance. No, I'm not really a germaphobe. It's just, I'm really not. Moving on, Carnage Cup 9 on the 16th and 17th. In the first round, an X marks the spot match. John Wayne Murdoch, formerly known as Damian Payne, taking on Josh Crow Part 2.
Josh Crow. Oh, the Part 2 is the second meeting between
Oh,
the
okay.
two. Yeah, so the Part 2 is a rematch from the first round last year.
I thought there might have been a cloning process involved or something. Wasn't quite sure.
It was formerly Damian Payne. He's changed his name, and he's now John Wayne Murdoch. Yes, he looks like, was it Dick Murdoch?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I couldn't think of the guy's first name. Yeah, but he's got that Murdoch look. But anyway, he's working Josh Crow. X marks the spot. It's going to be light 2 bundles shaped in shape of the X. And so it'll be just a ton of those, just a lot of glass. And I don't know if you saw last year.
Oh, yeah.
I think they stole the first round. They had a hell of a match. I mean, it was a lot of wrestling involved. Not every match has as much wrestling. I mean, all the guys are wrestlers, but the brawlers aren't going to do catch can, arm drags and, hip tosses and stuff like that. But these guys just put on a clinic. I mean, they did, had the light 2s, but they put on a wrestling clinic with the glass, and they just were amazing last year. And so they told me they're going to try to top what they done last year. I don't know how they're going to do it, but that one's going to be one to look for. I'm really looking forward to that rematch.
A match and style that I am very familiar with. A carpet strip massacre. And matter of fact, I believe you had one of those at CC7, the first one that I came to. Or a variant thereof, I'll put it that way. Relentless Ron Mathis, and I will let you handle the pronunciation of his opponent's name.
Yeah, his opponent's name is Ganger. This is a guy, he's from Ohio. He comes from Cleveland, Ohio with Ron Mathis. And these two guys know each other. Ron debuted last year, but this will be the first time that I'll be seeing Ganger in action. It's going to be a corporate strip massacre, but we're not going to it's not going to be set up the same way that the corporate strip massacre was in CC7. It's going to be more, more boards, tables and stuff. I think we mainly just did like loose carpet strips and CC7. So there's going to be more bumping gimmicks with the carpet strips this time. So these guys like to bump a lot, and so I don't know what to expect. I know Ron's one of the best up and coming deathmatch guys in CZW right now. He's not far behind Matt Tremont. He's really took over the scene up there in the East Coast area. The Ganger, I hadn't saw Ganger yet. I've just been referred to him, and Ron said, he said he was a really, really good worker. He kind of has that Taz look. He looks kind of like Taz. He likes a lot of suplexes and a lot of throws. So I'm anticipating this match very much. I think it'll be a really good match. Even though I don't know Gander, I trust guys that have referred him to me. So I'm looking forward to this one.
And the final match in the first round of Carnage Cup 9, a House of Glass match. Sid Fabulous and American Kickboxer 2.
If you remember these two guys last year, they debuted as well. Sid Fabulous wrestled Matt Tremont in the first round in the Barbed Wire Massacre, and he really busted his ass. Sid was incredible. I mean, him and Tremont had an amazing match last year. I mean, a bump machine. I mean, he bumps everything so hard, and he works so hard. Kickboxer the same way. He worked Neil Diamond, Cutter last year. Kickboxer, real hard worker. Both these guys are smaller guys that do a lot of lucha, high spots. They're going to have the House of Glass, pretty much light tubes taped on the ropes all the way around. I'm saying in the upwards of 100 plus tubes. With these two guys, so it's probably going to be very bloody. I mean, and I would say probably one of the more spottier matches of the first round. I love spotty death matches. There's not a lot of guys that can work lucha and do high spots that do death matches. I mean, there's just not a lot of guys. Most of the guys, are fairly bigger, and so if you can find some guys that'll do the lucha and the high flying and stuff, you need to book them because, I mean, it's a treat. I mean, because you're combining the two elements of the lucha and the high flying with the ultra violence. And so, for me personally, I like guys that can work that way. So, I'm very much looking forward to it.
Now, in addition...
I have a question.
Okay.
American Kickboxer, the original, Frank Mullins, is a very, very close friend of mine. How would you compare American Kickboxer 2 to Frank?
I'm not too familiar with the original Kickboxer, but the 2
I watched the original Kickboxer break his neck and work another 15 minutes in a match with Tarek the Great.
Damn.
Yeah, I've heard of Tarek. I've heard of the original Kickboxer. I just hadn't saw any matches of him. But now 2, from what I understand, was trained by the original American Kickboxer. I know he's a good bit smaller and probably more spottier. I don't know if did the first one, did the original, did he work a lot of lucha and like high flying and stuff?
Absolutely did. Yes, he absolutely did. Frank is not much bigger than me. Worked for Ian in IWA Mid-South quite a lot. He's also a judo expert, used a lot of judo in his matches. Also did the Izzy High gimmick for KW in Memphis. He and I worked together quite a substantial amount of time, along with our good friends Bull Payne. Like I said, I'm very familiar with Frank. I have not seen two work. I do know that he was trained by Frank, but not having seen him work, I don't have a comparison.
Oh, okay. See, so you've done some work with Bull Payne before, too?
Bull Payne is one of my best friends in the whole wide world. I took my first table bump with Bull.
Okay. Yeah, Bull's worked for me before. He worked one of the Carnage shows with me. Yeah, I really like Bull. Yeah, he's a great guy.
I think we need to get Tasha down there next weekend.
Yes, she'd probably have a good time.
I have a feeling she would. Now, in addition to the first round of the tournament, in addition to the tournament matches themselves, of course, we're not going to go into the stipulations on the second round of the tournament and going into to the semis and the finals. But I will say this, folks, it does get crazier the deeper you get into the tournament. The first round matchups look like and come across like they are going to be solid matchups. They are. You want to be there for the 16th. But you definitely want to get the 2-day ticket and be there for the 16th and the 17th because the action is going to be intense and it is going to be hardcore and then some. I use the word hardcore basically to reach out to those who were spoiled on WWE and ECW. Now, I have a lot of respect for what they did in Extreme Championship Wrestling back in the day because they did as much as they could on television, but they let it rip on the pay-per-views. This is an opportunity to take what you saw in that particular regard and take it to a higher level. And that, my friends, is a shoot, plain and simple. In addition to the tournament matches, now you're going to have 3 non-tournament matches, and these are going to be on Sunday, right?
That's correct.
If my notes are correct, you have a champion versus champion match. The $5 world champion, Big Donnie, taking on the LXW Extraordinary Champion in Red Solo Cup. Kev?
Okay, I have to give you an update. I was just notified earlier today Red Solo Cup might be there, and so I am looking right now into that match being changed. Big Donnie will still be there, and he'll still have a match, but that match will be that he'll have a different opponent. So right now I'm still working on that. Okay.
And what are the other matches you've got slated that are non-tournament?
Okay. One is the multi-man lucha match, was just a high-flying lucha match. See Christian Hayne, see Jeremy Flint, see Caden Sade, and there'll be a couple other guys in there that I hadn't announced yet. And we got one other non-tournament match, but it's a surprise. We're not announcing it. The people that buy the second day ticket, I have to just wait and see. So we're trying not to give everybody everything right now. So if you come, you'll get to see, the other matches and other participants. So that's what we're releasing right now.
I normally try to look at a lineup and say this match could steal the show. This match could be your sleeper match. This match could be the one that it really just breaks loose. And honestly, all 8 first-round matches have that potential. You could find a person who goes to even higher level in any one of these 8 matches. You have someone that could break through to another level of notoriety and respect in any of these matches. And so this is definitely, once again, I was there for 7, I was there for part of 8, and I'll be there for both days of 9. And it is going to be a blast. Once again, I don't care if you're in Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, come on out. I mean, Kev made the comment a little bit earlier that he's got people coming in from the Northeast and from the Central States region just for Carnage Cup. And you get a chance to see some tremendous, and I do mean tremendous, and I'll go and throw this one in there, some sick action too.
Yeah.
And if you've never been to an event of this style, check it at the door. Come in with open eyes and open mind. Now, I say open eyes. I'm going to go ahead and say this. You might want to bring a pair of goggles. That's legit, kids. That's not me ribbing. That's not me expounding on something in a different direction. I'd say go ahead. The reason why I say is because in 2 of the matches you've heard that there will be tubes involved, as in light tubes. Which, by the way, are you still using Sylvania? If you are, I'm going to go buy stock now.
Yeah, I'm using Sylvania, man, because they're cheaper, and I mean, you're just gonna bust them anyway. I recommend going to Lowe's. I went to Home Depot, and for the same box, the 32s, they were $20 more, for GE. And you go to the Sylvania, they're, I wouldn't use anything to Sylvania.
Okay.
I think they're like $35 a box for 32s, and so I mean they're like $59 plus tax for GE. I wouldn't do it, man.
So
I'm buying one shot, it's gone. So you better buy the cheapest ones you can,
So I'm buying stock in 2 companies before this coming weekend. Cool. And actually 3, Enterprise Rent-A-Car. But Kev, first off, now, so we can't get that other match out of you. There's no way we can get the exclusive here on Beyond Ringside. You're going to you want everybody to be surprised when they come to Tullahoma, right?
That's right. They're going to have to be surprised.
Folks, this is going to be at the SWF Arena, also located at 106 Southside Drive in Tullahoma, Tennessee. Check out IWALXW.com. Check out IWADeepSouth.com. Don't forget you can like them on Facebook. There is a Facebook event page just for IWA Deep South Carnage Cup 9. And you can see the information that we've been discussing here on Beyond Ringside tonight. And I just want to say this. I am really, really looking forward to having a great time all over again. Unfortunately, it will be, with all due respect to my friends up in Tennessee, sorry, kids, unfortunately, this will be in Tennessee as opposed to Alabama, where, of course, the tournament was found. Where the majority of the tournaments have been. And I'll go ahead and take care of this part, because with the advent of the Alabama Athletic Commission and the standards that they put forth, we're dealing with a situation, and I say we because I'm blessed to be a part of IWA and with LXW. We're facing a situation where it's people who don't always understand the diverse nature of professional wrestling and those who want to go in different directions other than the norm and the mainstream, which is what they seem to understand. Sorry, kids, that's the truth. So therefore, the Alabama Athletic Commission, in all of their glory, and I will not use another word, but in all of their glory, they have basically said, you can't have this style of match in this tournament in the state of Alabama. No. We think this, you can't do it. And I feel that, and this is, everybody knows I have a great working relationship with Brandon Owens, the executive director of the AAC. But I feel in this circumstance, the Alabama Athletic Commission is depriving the fans of Alabama who want to see this event in our home state the opportunity to have Carnage Cup 9 in the state of Alabama. Like I said, I have a great working relationship with the AAC, but they also know that I'm going to tell the truth. And I will express my opinion in no uncertain terms. I'm not bashing them. I'm not slamming them. Not in any capacity. Because I feel some of the work that they have done since they have adopted pro wrestling under their wing has been good and beneficial for professional wrestling. But in this circumstance, I feel it is an entirely different direction. And I think that they're missing the boat on this one. So that's just my opinion as the host and moderator of Beyond Ringside, not as a person who works with, but note for the fact that I also work with IWA and LXW very proudly. Put that in proper perspective. Real quick, Kev, loaded question. Any other surprises, any other comments you want to lay out there about the 16th and 17th?
Nothing I can think of, Eddie. But you'll be doing the ring announcing and, doing part of the commentary. So I'm glad to have you on board with me.
And also tag team partner for Beyond Ringside. Hostess Emeritus is the phrase that I'm going to use. Mark Mabo Bowman slated to join us up there as well. And you've kind of heard there might be a Tasha Simone sighting. La Reina del Pile driver could be coerced into dropping down to Tullahoma. We'll see what we can do on that one. Kev, it is always a pleasure to have you on board. And, of course, you know, dude, you're always welcome to pop in.
I appreciate you having me on, baby.
Before we run, Tasha, any other questions or comments you'd like to put out for Kevin Brannon?
No, he mentioned a few names of a couple of kids that I'm actually helping out in this area, Caden Sade being one of them. He's trying to become a part of my locker room brat crew. I might have to hop down there and see what's going on, really just because I'm intrigued to see if Kickboxer 2 is anywhere near what Kickboxer 1 is.
Well, anything can happen in that regard, and it's definitely, you know, like I said, with you knowing Caden and with you wanting to check out Kickboxer 2, definitely. Like I said, there could be a Tasha Simone sighting. You just never know. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'll be in disguise.
Say what?
I'll be in disguise, incognito.
She'll be a diminutive redhead with a world championship somewhere close to her. As in 3-time NWA Women's World Championship. But she can only have one belt, not 3. There you go. She needs the trophy case with all 3 belts. And I don't care which... Say what?
I'm saying there you go.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest and good friend of the family, Kevin Brannon with IWA Deep South and LXW, has once again gone beyond ringside. Hang with us. We'll be back to put a nice, neat bow on everything. No, we'll just take a chainsaw to it. Right after this, this is Beyond Ringside Live. You gotta love it, and I do. Beyond Ringside Live, Sunday night, November 10. Glad to have everybody on board. Fast Eddie Layne, Tasha Simone, a part of your Sunday night. Ted Guinness will be rejoining us hopefully next week. Had some situations come up out in the wild, wild Midwest. I have to throw that in there. ESPN just put out the poll, the BCS countdown. Top rank, of course, the University of Alabama Crimson Tide. Number 2, the Florida State Seminoles. Moving up to number 3, the Ohio State University.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
They done that quick?
Mm-hmm. Stanford Cardinals going to number 4. The Baylor Bears, number 5. The University of Oregon fell down to number 6. The University of Auburn Tigers. Say War Eagle? Yes, you can. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Auburn at number 7. The Clemson Tigers at number 8. The University of Missouri up to number 9. And South Carolina at number 10. And
I'm seeing a pattern here.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 Southeastern Conference teams in the top 10 of the BCS right now.
Why? Because the SEC is where it's at.
Welcome to the Southeastern Conference. We will hit you.
Hard.
That's the easy way to say it. Hang on.
Several times.
Several times? 4 quarters. And if we have to, we'll go into overtime, right?
You damn Skippy. And in case any of you missed it at the beginning of the show, here at Beyond Ringside, we know 3 very, very, very important words. Roll Tide, roll.
Well, I do have to say this. In addition to Roll Tide, I got to be fair. Tag team partners on the Saturday Showcase, the Hitman Ryan Adcock and Cause and Effect Robert Cosper are both Auburn fans, but I don't hold that against them. Everybody knows that. Well, you got to remember, I say it like this: Roll Tide, always. War Eagle when they're not playing Alabama, and go Blazers.
I will not be buying a beer for Critter. That is all.
He went there.
Critter, if you're listening, I do not spend money on Bud Light. That's why I did not mind taking that bet, because it is not happening.
Yeah, you make a bet with me, it's going to be a crown bet.
You are not going to bet against Bama.
Oh, hell no.
Well, see, I'm safe then.
There you go. Yeah, I was looking to see if there was a game upcoming that I could actually do that winner chicken dinner bet with, but unfortunately, I'm not going to see it anywhere in the very near future. Week 10, of course, coming to a close. Saints, Cowboys just started a little while ago, if my notes are correct. It was a 7:30 start.
Cruz has already fumbled. Yes, I have been very quiet watching this, but they held the Cowboys to a field goal.
I was going to wait till next week. I do believe the Thursday night, isn't the Thursday night game, Thursday night is Colts-Titans at Tennessee.
Yes, and it's the one game of the year that I'll actually be a Colts fan. By the way, it's New Orleans 7, Dallas 3.
Thank you.
3:18 left in the first quarter.
Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Colts-Titans on Thursday night, next Sunday, and I'm going to go ahead and pick a couple of games because I know that you've got a vested interest in a couple of them. See, I feel bad for next Sunday because my Falcons take on Tampa Bay. I'm picking the Falcons regardless. I don't give a damn. I can be wrong every once in a while. But I will ask you this. Your thoughts on the Redskins-Eagles game set for next Sunday on Fox?
Dear Redskins, in case you missed it, I actually will stand up and cheer and twerk every time somebody rips Michael Vick's head off if he is on the field.
I think it's going to be cold on the field. I mean, Foles, sorry. Damn.
Yeah, it probably is. But in case it happens, or hey, if he is on the sideline, and you happen to tackle somebody on the Philadelphia sideline, and you happen to rip Michael Vick's head off,
there you go.
I will stand up and do a happy dance and twerk, because he should not be anywhere near an NFL game unless he's buying a ticket. That being said, I'm definitely not picking the Eagles. Yeah, definitely not.
I'm going to go ahead and lay this one down there. Next Sunday night, on the 17th, the late game, which will be on NBC, is going to be Chiefs-Broncos. Now,
Chiefs.
The Broncos look human, but the Chiefs' offense just has not been that good in the last 4 games. Now, granted, they're on their bye week this week, which gives some people a chance to be less banged up.
He got hurt tonight.
Say what?
Peyton got hurt tonight. He's going for an MRI tomorrow.
Oh, this will add a whole new dimension to that game. Now, first off...
Oh, sorry, Peyton. Oh, gosh. Dang. Oh.
Now, I have a world of respect for Peyton Manning and what he has gone through and what he is doing right now. I think it's tremendous. Okay.
I think he has no sportsmanship to him at all. I love his brother Eli, but I think that he is an elitist and feels he's entitled.
Okay. That's going to be an argument for another time. But unfortunately, at this one, I'm going to go ahead and use those 2 words that we love and hate at the same time. Actually, I'll put 4 words in a string of sentence. Tasha, Simone, last call.
Last call. Peeps, haven't mentioned this earlier, but this very weekend coming up, the 16th and 17th, or the 7th, whatever, Saturday and Sunday are next week, Kid Cash seminar right here in the Nashville area. It is not too late to contact me for that. Tasha Simone, NWA@gmail.com. It's $250 for 2 days with the one and only Kid Cash, ECW, WWE, TNA, and NWA superstar. Not something that anyone wants to miss. There are still a few spots open. I've also been notified during this show that the one and only legend of female professional wrestling, Miss Layne Kai, will be in the Nashville area on the 6th and 7th, and she is open for training as well. Hit me up on that email, and I will get you the information to contact if anybody's interested in that as well. Eddie's already talked about it. We just had Kevin on. if you're anywhere near the Tullahoma area, make the drive. Go support the guys. You know, I don't really care for hardcore all the time. It is something that I do occasionally. I made a living doing it for a long time and fed my family with it. Have a lot of friends that are some of the best hardcore wrestlers in the world. So go support these guys while they're kicking each other's ass. And the 23rd, Mad Dog, I know you hear this every time I'm saying it. I'm going to be there until you quit protecting Tracy Taylor with that GCW women's title. I know you're afraid of what I'm going to do to her. I know Mike is afraid, and I know JJ Tanner is afraid. And Mr. Commissioner, I'm telling you too. I'm going to be in that building every single time Tracy's going to be there until all of you stop protecting her.
You really think I'm protecting Tracy?
Yes. I do, because you hate me secretly.
I don't hate anybody.
I have that one drink of vodka on the air, and you just...
You went there again.
One drink, people, one.
And you let loose with more verbiage in 5 minutes than in a 30-minute Jerry Springer segment.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, I know. Just don't do it again. Go for it. Shameless plugs. In addition to the shameless plugs you've done for last call.
That was my last call, though. I've already done my shameless plugs.
No.
And if you book myself, my baby brother, Wicked Nemesis, or the greatest tag team that GCW has ever seen, the Unlucky Charms, you can also contact me at Tasha Simone, NWA, at gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter if you're not afraid to hear my opinion, which everybody is entitled to, Tasha F. Simone. You can also find my glorious pictures, Tasha F. Simone, on Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Tasha.Simone1. And people, this is a very important last call. When you have fresh spider bites, it is really easy to spill your beer when you're trying to drink it.
No kidding. I want to remind everybody real quick, and I'm going to bypass last call because I just got the message, food's ready, and I am hungry fat man today because I was so late getting to my burger yesterday, which actually was fettuccine Alfredo, and it was pretty damn good. Thank you, Bellini's. Greatly appreciated. From that vantage point, want to remind everybody, let's run the week down in chronological order. On November 12th, Back to Basics returns with the Tuesday night conversation. We've got some plans in the works to have a little fun, and then some, and I'll be joined for the Tuesday night conversation by the bulldozer, Matt Tremont, right here on Beyond Ringside Radio, Back to Basics. Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, the To Be Determined show. The Wicked Nemesis, Tasha Simone, Mad Dog Matt Denton, sometimes a special guest producer or guest co-host, and definitely special guests coming on for interviews. Check them out Wednesday nights, 10 Eastern, 9 Central, the To Be Determined show. Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, the Beyond Ringside Saturday Showcase. The Hitman BDC Ryan Adcock, the Cause and Effect Robert Cosper, and yours truly on Saturday mornings, looking to kick it into overdrive and that much more. And of course, on Sundays, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Central, 3:30 Pacific time. Beyond Ringside Live. Keep your eyes open on the newly redesigned BeyondRingside.com, but don't get too used to the way it looks right now because I'll probably be changing it again in 48 hours. Also, for those who'd like to track me down personally, without a loaded firearm in your hand or using poison darts, Fast Eddie Layne, LAYNE.com. It's just that simple. And for the record, Hitman, I know you're listening. No, I cannot officially get you. Facebook.com/kissmy_ass. I have tried. They won't let me do it. Now, they will let me have kissmy.ass. And I think I can get kissmy.com ass. But it will not let me have kissmy_ass on Facebook. So therefore, I did try. We're trying to get Hitman over on Facebook. We're not even going to worry about Twitter, but, even Facebook, that way we can keep everybody in the loop. But email works fine for me, too. Until next time, thank you again to Gordon Shell for coming on yesterday. It was a tremendous pleasure to be able to speak with him. Thank you to Mike Cruz for coming on today. Thank you to Kevin Brandon with IWA Deeps. I'm sure Ryan is texting like a man. You son of a... Thank you again to Kevin Brandon for coming on tonight. Mike Cruz, gentlemen, thank you both. The doors, of course, always open. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on a personal side this Thursday night. Codzilla's up in Argo, Alabama, just outside of Trussville. I'll be kicking things off there and firing up the microphones and the music at 8 o'clock p.m. Central. And, of course, on Friday nights, the tradition, Buffalo Wild Wings in Alabaster. 9 p.m. start, and we take it till the boss says shut up. And I'll see you next Saturday and Sunday in Tullahoma, Tennessee, or Tullahoma, as I've now been told. I did pay attention, believe it or not, for IWA Deep South Carnage Cup 9. Real quick.
And there's a Tasha Simone sighting.
Say what?
Incognito. And there may be a Tasha Simone sighting there. Incognito.
No,
not Richie. Just incognito.
Just
like
incognito. Yes. Let's see. I'm trying to think if I can put something together verbiage-wise without having too much dead air, even though the music bed's playing underneath. Nope. I'll think about it later. And trust me, it'll show up on a slide on the YouTube replay. Real quick, Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live, at Beyond Ringside on Twitter, MySpace.com/Beyond Ringside. We're on YouTube. We're on Ustream. We're on Google+. We're on LinkedIn. We're on more places than I've got active brain cells. And thank you to everybody who's been sending over the positive feedback for the YouTube slideshows that I've been putting up with interviews and episodes on YouTube. Thank you. For all of us here on Beyond Ringside Live. Ted Guinness, we hope everything's working well. Wick, we'll talk to you soon. Mabo, always in our thoughts. For tag team partner, Tasha Simone.
Woo, woo.
You didn't use the cheesy, corny, canned gimmick song from 10 years ago?
Nope.
Why not?
I'm changing now.
So we're...
My little punk-ass brother wants to pick on me about it. So by Wednesday night, I'll have something really wonderful that will make people pee their pants laughing.
If I had it on cue, I would just go ahead, since you mentioned that T word a little while ago, T-W-R-Ken. I was actually... I refuse to say the word, Miley Cyrus. The only reason why she's being a dipstick is because of the fact that she's trying to kill Hannah Montana. Guess what, Miley? Nobody cares.
But you know what? I'm going to say this, and I know we're fixing to go off the air. I'm going to defend her a little bit. It's kind of sad that all of her antics are taking away from the fact that the little girl has a nice voice.
Yes, she does.
And if you have not listened to her album, forget her being on a wrecking ball naked, forget her licking a hammer. Even though I'm like Carrie Underwood, I would have thought Blake Shelton would be the first person to do that too. Just saying. The music on the album is actually really pretty good. The kid is talented. It's just that people are forgetting she's talented for all of the antics she's doing.
Like I said, the only reason why she's doing all this crap is to keep the focus on the fact that she is who she wants to be now and not what Hannah Montana was.
Exactly.
But
that people need to pay attention to when they want their kids to watch Disney and deal with it as well is look at all of these kids that are within the Disney infrastructure that become famous through Disney that lose their minds.
Yeah, I know.
It's really kind of sad. Makes you wonder about the mouse.
Yeah, it really does. Remember, Walt Disney had to do some serious drugs. How else would he come up with half the crap that he did? Same thing with Jim Henson and the Muppets.
Hey, don't be hating on the animals.
I ain't hating on the Muppets. I got a world of respect.
Always the hottest, although they did prove that Elmo was a pedophile.
And Bert and Ernie are not gay.
Yes, they are.
Don't give a damn. Don't give a damn. Until next time, Tasha, I'm going to throw it your way. I want you to say it. For tag team partner Tasha Simone.
My milkshake brings the boys and the girls to the yard.
There, she has done her swan song with the Khalees track. This is the Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Eddie Layne saying until next time, adios, das vidania, hasta luego, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, sayonara, adieu, arrivederci, farewell, abisinio, au revoir. And until we meet again, I'm taking a walk inside the Twilight Zone. I'm not going in one direction. Thank you, Matt Denton. You can have the llama. I'll take the sheep, and we'll see you later. And aloha means bye for now. See ya.